Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club. If you're at all interested in anything we talk about in this episode, go ahead and check out the description down below, or if you even just want to know more about us, click on the links below. Now on to the episode.
Woo! Coffee Experts Club. What's going on, Ben Clatterbuck?
Good day, good day, good day. You know, just helping people fix the internet. That's all.
Dude, seriously, technology, man. Napoleon Dynamite's song was so legit at the end credits. It's just the blessing and the curse, brother.
Oh my God, I haven't had a Napoleon Dynamite reference in, I don't think, 15 years.
Dude, come on, man. I'm old, but like I'm keeping it real. You know what I'm saying, Ben Clatterbuck?
I forgot about that movie. That's hilarious.
Anyway, Coffee Experts, talking about Napoleon Dynamite. Actually, not anything to do with Napoleon Dynamite, but talking about, I thought today, so excuse that Drew's not with us. Drew is motorcycling across Guatemala like a nut. Ben's like, there's a guy that doesn't have kids. I'm like, I'll tell you what, some people are just more adventurous than others because that does not sound fun to me. I'm like, duh. So it sounds hot. It sounds uncomfortable. I'm sure your back hurts after being leaned over the bike all day. I'm sure you're sleeping in places that are not as comfortable as your bed. But Drew is sending me pictures. He's like happier than a clam, loving his time.
I'm sure it's beautiful, but I mean, I've driven through Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is a little bit better than Guatemala. And even there, the roads are like, there's no way in hell I would ride a motorcycle on those roads.
That's how I feel. But, you know, Ben, I'm not adventurous. I don't know how adventurous you are, but somebody was like, don't you want to do skydiving? And I'm like, not at all. There's not a part of me that wants to do skydiving. Like, I love my life. Why would I throw myself out of a plane and hope that this parachute works? It's supposed to, but man, you know what guaranteed works every time? Both feet on the ground. That works amazing. Like, I never have to wonder about that.
I wouldn't say that too loud. That's the next thing Drew's going to do, most likely.
Gary, he loves it. He loves it.
He'll be skydiving in Nicaragua.
I'm like, dude, talk about bookshelf strategy. We always talk about it on the show, right? Bookshelf strategy. What do you pull? What's my bookshelf strategy when Fallen Drew dies on one of his adventure missions? You know? And just so you know, my plan is to get Ben on more vacations down to Belize. So just like I'm riding that one out.
Man, and Drew gets eaten by a panther down in Guatemalan jungle.
Man, it'd be a great story. We could at least have some good episodes out of it. Anyway, hey, Coffee Experts, I thought what we could talk about today is the tale as old as time, and I'm not talking about Beauty and the Beast. The tale as old as time is, from my perspective, good habits slip. Like, I think like good practices, like our nature is to atrophy. Right? Like we stop going to the gym. We stop eating right. We stop doing the things we know are healthy because it's easier not to, right? I think the same thing applies in business. And Ben, I know you and I have seen it. We're under the hood of dozens of coffee shops that we're helping manage all the time, helping with their POS softwares, you know, helping them with their scheduling, helping them with best practices on cost of goods and negotiating for the best rates, helping them with teams and team dynamics and building out how do we get people to be retained. I think we're helping on every side of businesses. But I think the most common failure I see under the hood of all different kinds of businesses is good habits slip. You know, so I thought we could talk today about just the tendency we have to go back towards it. And I have a story of a coffee shop. I won't name any names, but just seeing some pretty big slippage from what they know works best, and just maybe some ways, some tricks, some hacks to beat the slippage.
I mean, a lot of the clients that we work with too, like we're brought in specifically because those good habits have slipped, and now the business is hurting. And I think of a few clients where they're like, you know, we've been in business 6, 7, 8, 10 years. You know, those first 3, 4, or 5 were amazing. But for some reason, like everything's just in the shitter right now. And you go, well, it's probably because you were doing things right when you started, and just time happens. You get older, you get tired of being on bar, you get tired of the same old, and stuff just starts slipping. And that's a lot of the time where we come in. And most of the time it's just pointing out simple things like, hey, why is your COGS line so off? You know, why is your payroll so high? And it's just them going, you know what? Yeah, I've been letting that get out of hand.
Yeah, I think you know, where I see it happen is owners or people running things, you know, they get to the spot where they're like, I don't want to be here all the time. I don't want to be doing this all the time. How can I get a solution? You know, that's how we, you know, we're introduced to Lifeline Coffee. We had Melissa on the show a couple weeks back. You know, Cody, who's the roaster, the owner of Houdini Coffee Roasting up there in the Tri-Cities, and Melissa's one of his clients. And he's like, hey, I think you should talk to Collab team because I think you're getting to a size and a place where it's like the business shouldn't be as dependent on you as it is. Like, let's get you're going to open 2 new locations this year, which is legendary, right? We hardly ever see that. The only other time I've seen that happen is with Wes back at Roasters, and it almost killed all of us, right? So it's like You don't see this a lot in coffee where people are opening multiple coffee shops at a time. Cody's like, hey, I think you should lean into Collab team and let them help you with like some of the infrastructure development. And in talking to her, I feel like we've really been able to help with, hey, Melissa, how dependent are they on you? But this is one of the big ones I see is how dependent are you allowing your team to be on you? Like how often do we just, I think in some ways it strokes our ego as the leader, right? I think in some ways it makes us feel fulfilled if you're a saver or a fixer, like you're like, I can save the day, I can fix that. And that may have been good at the beginning, but once you start multiplying the amount of people that are demanding you to be the saver and the fixer, like you're going to really start to realize this is kind of a miserable way to do life. Like I don't really do this. Like how could we do this easier? And so I think a lot of the saving and the fixing can be solved through systems. We just need to put the right systems in place so that you're not the choking point.
Or once the right system is in place, not going and changing it and creating a problem for you to fix. We've seen that a lot too. Great systems in place. You know, I can think of Roaster specifically. Built fantastic systems. Don't go in and mess up the system or break the system or introduce a problem just because you don't have anything else to do. That's the joy of having these systems, is it takes you off of that firefighting mentality of and that having to go backwards to I have to be on the bar as the owner. That's why you have a system. Don't go in and mess up the system because you got nothing to do now.
Man, Ben, I think, we talk about all the time. We kind of joke about when we talk about Wes, but there were times where Wes would walk into Wes was the owner of Roasters Coffee, 15 locations, right? He had grown this amazing business, 9 short years, 15 locations in a roastery. And there were times that I think that honestly, Wes just got bored. And I think that the danger was in Wes getting bored is he started fiddling with things, or he started messing with things, or he started like just getting involved with things, or jumping behind the bar and started serving coffee again. But we had developed so many iterations, so many clicks past that it made it a lot worse. That's the danger, is you put some of these systems in place so that you don't have to be there in the day to day, so that you're not having to be the one slinging coffee. Or if you are, stand behind the bar, work the register, man. Do something that's not like, it doesn't have to be you pulling the craft anymore. Like have the conversation with the customer if you want to have some place where you can have, but even then you got to be careful, because if it's going to start damaging your car times, or it's going to start messing up with the flow of the way that other people are interacting, like that actually hurts more than it helps.
Yeah, and that's one of those, you created good habits, good systems to get you to that point. Don't let those then start sliding and going back to, I've been in business for 6 years. Year 6 is light years different than year 1. And you may still be operating in year 1 as the owner because that's what you remember, but your business is operating in year 6. So don't go in there and pull everybody back down to year 1 with you because, I'm the owner. I can still make drinks. No, you can't, dude. We've had this for 6 years. You can't make a drink in 30 seconds anymore. Let the barista do that. Don't slide into that bad habit again of you being on bar, because like you just said, you're going to slow everything down and you're just going to throw a wrench in the beauty of what your business has become.
I think that that's Ben, this is something I feel like you killed. You did so good at this. We would do grand openings towards the end and you're like, nope, I'll work the parking lot. I'm not fast anymore. I know I'm not. I'm the operator. Like I'm the chief operations officer of this organization that's got 200 employees. I may have at one time been the fastest slinging barista in the West. That is not me anymore. Like I'm not in that game anymore. Put the people that are working this day in and day out on the bar for grand opening. Don't dick around with one of the top people like that's in the organization to think that because they have something to prove or something to like, no, you're going to make this worse. Like don't get like, stay in your lane. I know we talked about that a couple weeks back of stay in your lane, but I think one of the things we talk about a lot, and you can find it. We created like a communications resource guide of kind of how to navigate this. It's at comms, COMMS, coffeeexpertsacademy.com. So comms.coffeeexpertsacademy, where we line out for you. This is the best way we think you should work on communication. But one of the tools we talk about in there is 131. This particular coffee shop that I was talking about earlier at the beginning of the show, they've just gotten a bad habit of being just too available for their baristas. And so what it happens is your baristas are young kids, right? A lot of times they can be a little bit lazy. So it's just easier for me to lob a hand grenade out into the group texting chat of, I don't know how to do this, instead of, no. What's the one issue you're going through? What are the 3 solutions that you would suggest? And what's the one you would recommend? Right? So use your brain. Like, okay, so that's the problem. What do you think we should do to fix it? Don't just come and start taxing my brain with your problem because it's your issue. Like figure it out, come up with some good solutions. If you're still stuck, great. Tell me the one that you think we should try. And then I might have some more data that might give you actually a better decision. But don't play the lazy route where you're just going to tap into my brain. And now I become your fix-it man. I'm the one that's driving down there and delivering something that you've run out of. I'm the one that's coming in there and fixing your problem that you're having with this machine or with like, no. We have systems in place for a reason. Owners should only get involved when it's the best ROI on their time, or if it's an absolute, the house is burning down emergency that I have to get there, then absolutely, let's do it. But that's my lane to travel as the owner is I'm at high level business or absolute buck stops here. Something's got to happen right now. Nobody else can do it. We've tried all the solutions we have. That's when I should get involved. Otherwise, like, what are you doing? Like, no, you shouldn't be doing something that we could pay somebody minimum wage to go do. That's the worst return on your time ever. And it's taxing. It's going to drain you. You're going to burn out. And then you're going to get to a point, Ben, you're in the middle of a client right now that is like, has told you, we just want to sell. We just want to get out. And it's not because it's not a great company. It's not because what they're doing isn't impactful. It's not because it hasn't grown amazingly. They're killing it. Like, multi-million-dollar company, but the owner's just at a place where they're just so burned out because they're so taxed because they've made themselves the choking point and they're not pushing good systems at their people to triage the pain. And they have allowed people to come and tax their brain for too long. And now they're just burned out. Now they just want to get out. I just want to get out. I just want to get out of this business when it's like, no. If you want to exit, be strategic, right? A fast exit it's like selling a house, right? If you want to fire sell your house, you could sell it quick. If you want to get the full amount of what it's worth, that might take a little time, which means you should not be selling out of burnout. Let us help you with some communication tools when it comes to how do you backpedal back into good habits again.
And not only that, like when you have that habit of that, just like that 1-3-1, it also builds that culture inside your company. It took us a really, really long time to even get our regional managers. I remember I would harp on Drew actually for this a lot. Is Drew would just go in and fix it. Like, Drew, you can't just fix it for them. Ask them what's wrong. Ask them how they would fix it. You have to actually teach them. Otherwise, you're always going to be running down to the shop at 4 a.m. because something's wrong. Until you get people to actually think for themselves, you're going to be waking up every morning, dude, super early. And he eventually caught on, and then he became one of the best teachers because he just grabbed that and ran. And everybody who Drew worked with, every manager that was underneath Drew, was they solved the problem first, and then they told Drew, hey, by the way, I fixed this. This is what happened. It's already solved. And Drew was able to get way more hands off after that. But if your owner, even you as an owner, can't implement that yourself and get your people to do that, there's no way your regional managers can do that. There's no way your location managers can do that. And then just all the way down, it's this culture of, just nonstop communication. Help. You help. And that's where your organization can feel like it's always on fire because nobody's actually stopping to try and solve a problem themselves. Everybody's just, hey, I've got a fire over here. Hey, I've got a fire over here, from the night barista all the way up to you. Your managers are getting burned out because their night baristas are calling them at 9 o'clock and they have to wake up at 4 a.m. Your regional managers are getting burned out because they got 4 or 5 managers who are just constantly trying to lob fire grenades at them, which is rattling up to you. And it's just a whole organization where you could cut down a lot of that chaos and noise if it just started with you as the owner going, hey, you know what? I want you to come up with a solution first. And if it doesn't work and the building's on fire, then call me. But you figure it out. You're in your place for a reason. I trust you to figure it out and come up with a solution that actually works for us. And then let me know how it goes afterwards.
I think that, I've honestly we've been working through some growing pains at Coffee de los Mayas and trying to figure out, okay, so who should be dealing with this problem? Even at the upper level, we've got a guy handling logistics. We have a gal that's helping us with finance. We have Drew and I, Drew's more boots on the ground. I'm more like larger end of the business of negotiating new deals and managing construction and helping us think like about the profit and loss and how we're doing with profitability. And, we all have our own space that we fill, but I had suggested our last level 10 meeting, which if you're not doing a weekly meeting or at least a bi-weekly meeting with your top people, I think that's a great place to start and ask them this question, like, how could we become more efficient? What's a way we could get better so that all of our lifestyles could get better of it's not just a continual firefight. We talk a lot about, and 80% of the time we want to be cutting fire breaks and 20% of the time we want to be firefighting. And the lesser time firefighting, the better, honestly, could this system handle. But I think that one thing I would really suggest for anybody that's listening is as you continue to grow, be thinking about your org chart. Be thinking about EOS, which is Entrepreneur's Operating System, taken from Traction, the book written by Gino Wickman, talks about how every organization should have an org chart. And in that, every individual should have 3 to 5 key duties, And so I suggested last level 10 meeting with the Dallas Myas crew at the top level. We do a top level meeting. And I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to take a first pass at the org chart because I think that we all are very versatile. And I think we all are starting to get involved into pools that there's confusion because now we've got multiple people touching that and it doesn't require multiple people. And I honestly think the multiple people and the multiple opinions are actually making it more confusing and slowing down efficiency. So I think that's a great place to start of what should you as the owner be doing with your time? What should, if you have a second in command, be doing with their time? What should your managers be doing? What should your assistant managers be doing? Are there leads within your store? What should your leads be doing? What should a barista be doing? Like all the way down, like let's cascade this thing all the way down and make sure everything's covered. But that also helps you to establish, okay, so which bucket does this fit in? And if it's not in my bucket, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to step back and I'm going to trust Drew has that. Do I have opinions on that? Sure. But just because I'm the owner doesn't always mean my opinions are the best ones. It doesn't always even mean that, like you said, generationally, I may be 3 clicks behind when it comes to how the boots on the ground folks are handling this. And if I come and advise it, I might actually take a steps back in time and waste all kinds of money and effort and energy and time by returning us back to a time in the business that I remember instead of just going to the right lane, keeping it in the right channel, like dropping it in the right bucket based upon the 3 to 5 key duties that are associated with the right.
And even if your organization is a relatively flat organization, which most of coffee shops are, right? It's usually owner, managers, and that's it as you're starting out. But you can keep it that way. At least having something that's visual that you can share with your team that says, if there's an emergency at this level, here's who we talk to. If there's an emergency above that, here's who we talk to. Instead of let's all be in the same iMessage group and we'll just throw chaos on our phones 24/7 because everybody's in the same group. Everybody's saying help, help, help. Nobody's coming up with solutions. Like that org chart alone is even just enough to kind of slow down that rattle and actually send it through those proper lanes.
And I think so. Let's predictively think about what the growth pattern is going to be for future too. And could we begin to start down that direction? I know like Megan, my wife, is not involved in the business very, very much, but we call her the silent partner because she's not always that silent and gets loud about some things that she's passionate about. But like something that I thought would be a great thing for Megan to handle is how are we dealing with benevolence? Like, where do we want to donate? What made Roasters so powerful back in the day was they were hometown hero because they knew that giving back into the community is what was going to win the affection of the people. I think that Jarek carried that forward, championed it well with Swag now. You know what I mean? Like Jarek was one of the main leaders in Roasters back in the day, started his own coffee shop. I think Swag has really earned a lot of name in the Tri-Cities now for being a hometown hero, and I think a lot of that comes out of donations. So Megan might not be a lot in the day-to-day. She might not be interacting with the baristas all the time. She may not attend the weekly meetings, but I've asked Megan, hey, will you be in charge of who are we giving to on a quarterly basis? Like, where are our dollars going? And you find the organizations you think we should be involved in. You come up with the ideas of how we get in front of them. You come up with the ideas of what we should be doing, and then we'll bring it to the team. We'll bring it to them. But that takes it off of me. It takes it off of Drew at a top level. I'm not putting that down onto the managers for them to figure that out. And I think too, sometimes that can be as easy as let's ask our social medias. Let's ask our customers who they think we should be given to. And then Megan can make the decision on who we go with once she's got a bunch of ideas, but giving people some say in some things so that you don't have to have the say in everything. Because honestly, if I have to make that decision, I'm exhausted by the time I get to that decision. I've got enough on my plate with what I'm doing, but Megan's not exhausted. So could I create a spot where she is able to have a voice and it actually takes pressure off of me and can be part of that org chart splitting to where the bigger that we get, maybe we're going to need to handle, and maybe HR starts handling that at some point. You know what I mean? With like internal relations and external relations. I think that there's some good delineations you can make if you just start thinking about listing out all the things that everybody's doing, put them in buckets, come up with 3 to 5 key rules for each one of your people, and then channel down a good communication tool like 131, 1 problem, 3 solutions. This is the best one from my perspective. That's what all your people are doing organization wide. I think it's really going to help cut down on the chaos. So Ben Clatterbuck, we're at the top. So appreciate your time, sir. Hey, if you guys liked that whole idea about communications, remember that's a free tool we offer. COS.Coffee Experts Academy. You can find it there. coffeeexpertsacademy.com. So thank you for joining us, Coffee Experts. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Ben Clatterbuck. See you then.
Hopefully Drew lives another week.
Oh, man, please, Lord.
See you guys.